from the time that Adam and Eve fell, they would have been observing, or how do I want to say this? Fellowshipping with God around His promise to restore all things. So Cain and Abel, they didn't just like one day out in the field decide, you know what, I think today we'll bring out some fruit and some blood. It's Tuesday. It's as good of a day as any. Do you see what I'm saying? And if you go and study this out, and you go and look in the ancient rabbinical writings, they believe that the day that would have happened would have been on the Day of Atonement.
Wow.
When Cain and Abel appeared before God. Or the Day of Judgment.
Yeah.
The coming of our Lord. Right? That's when that was. And so you have a type and a shadow throughout all of the Scriptures. But the way that last Day of Atonement is going to look like is everybody will be raised up. Whether unto life or unto death, by whatever spirit they believed on, will stand there before God. And all those who believed on the serpent, the accusation of the serpent is going to ring loud in their chest. Do you know why? They're going to look at themselves and see themselves as naked. And they're going to be confounded. And they're going to be ashamed. And they're not going to overcome the accusation of the evil one, which is he accuses us by pointing at the death we have. But all those who believe on Jesus, guess what's going to happen in the day God comes and stands on the ground? Just like Job said, my Redeemer liveth, and He's going to stand on this earth. What's going to happen to those who believed on Jesus? We're going to be raised up, clothed in the very majesty and immortality of God. We're going to be like, dang. Oh, man. You know, we'd be looking at each other. Sweet. It's a shame we're not giving in marriage now.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody really want me now. You see what I'm saying? But we'll be raised up like that. Well, guess what will have nothing in us in that day?
Saints.
The accusation.
Yes.
How can you accuse a guy who's clothed in the majesty and immortality of God that he's not the child of God?
Yeah, right.
Your accusation will be empty and powerless at that moment.
Right.
So God had to do something to cause humans to overcome the accusation.
Wow.
The way He causes us to overcome the accusation is He come and rebuke Satan's accusation. The Lord rebuke you, Satan. He come and rebuke Satan's accusation. He come and prove that mankind is His image and likeness. He come and prove that what He said when He got down on one knee and baraked Adam and called Adam His son, He come and proved it was true. He come and proved it was true when they said, let us make man. And they said it was very good. He proved everything He said was true. How did He prove what He was true? He needed a man who could come, take all the sin and death of the world upon Him, and in His place of total nakedness, stand in the face of the accusation on behalf of man as the image and likeness of God. And He needed a man who from that place would say, Abba, instead of trying to clothe Himself.
Right.
So Jesus is that man. Have you considered my righteous servant Jesus? That's God acting as the advocate of man. Satan had just come to resist man as the sons of God. Now God arguing against Satan, telling Satan, have you considered my righteous servant Jesus? He's defending the name of man. He's defending the honor of man. He's defending the reputation of man there against the serpent's accusation. Now Jesus is the manifestation of God defending the honor and integrity of His man. It is God making His case that man is my image and likeness. It's God making His case that mankind is my children. It's God proving that what He said about man was true. Right? And so He comes and proves what He said about man is true. And now we see a human being seated in the Godhead, clothed in immortality. Glory and immortality. What does it say in Revelation? That Satan was cast out. He accused the brethren day and night. And he was cast out. Well, what was he accusing the brethren day and night of? That they're not the children of God. What was the evidence that they're not the children of God? Their dying bodies. Well, now that there's a human being with an undying body, clothed in glory and majesty and immortality, seated right there in the mercy seat, the place where we would meet God, here comes this guy Satan to tell me that I'm not the child of God, but now I'm looking at a man, the Son of Man, who's clothed in glory and immortality. That tells me that man is the children of God. That casts out the accusation.
Yeah.
Do you see?
Yeah.
And so now I find that I can say the same thing Jesus said when He said, now the hour has come where the prince of this world will come to me, but he has nothing in me. He's saying now has come the time where the accuser of the brethren is going to come to me. And he's going to try to play his game on me that he's played on all of mankind. I'm going to be nailed to a cross. I'm going to be naked and dead, dying. And he's going to come and accuse me and say, I'm not God's son. And he's going to point at my body of nakedness, my body of death. But he's not going to have anything in me. His accusation will be powerless. Right?
Yes.
Try telling the eternal word that he's not one with God. Forget about his thought process, just a man. Right? Because we could run through a man process. But he's the eternal word. Now try telling the eternal word that he's not one with God.
Right.
Try telling the eternal word he's not God's son.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
No. Nothing in him. So this man, Satan, really at the cross is where, if you wanted to put it in poetic terms, at the cross would be where Satan and God are going at it as far as what Job would express as the arguing.
Yeah.
Because Satan comes with all of his evidence that man isn't the image and likeness of God. He comes and he mars Jesus' image to where he's unrecognizable. He fills his body with every ounce of death and darkness there could ever be. And so he's, look, God, they're not yours. They're mine. They're not in your image and likeness. They're in my image and likeness. They worship me. They don't worship you. Look at them. And so Satan would be busy telling God about how they're not his, they're mine. And right in the middle of that, Jesus would say, Abba.
Wow.
He would call God Father. Right in the middle of Satan trying to prove that man wasn't God. Here's a man who says Father. Oh. The Lord rebuke you, Satan.
Right.
And so Jesus comes as, it's interesting, we list this part of it, but Jesus is the last Adam.
Right.
That means he's the representative of all mankind. He is the high priest for all people. He come as a man to stand in the face of the accusation. What accusation? Man isn't the children of God. Well, let's see about that. The day that a matter will be determined.
Right.
And so a matter was being determined there on the cross. And so Satan was all the time accusing that mankind was not the children of God, that they were his image and likeness, not God's. And so Jesus comes to stand in the face of the accusation on behalf of the world. Because the serpent's accusation has nothing in him.
Right.
Because he's got the spirit of the eternal one in him.
Right.
He is the eternal one. He knows he's braided together with Abba. And so he stands in the face of the accusation. Satan just comes at him with every bit of death and darkness and sin. He comes with every ounce of his system of sin and death, and he just throws it against Jesus. And Jesus stands in the face of it like he goes and stands in the face of Hurricane Katrina. And it just all collides on top of him. And then Satan starts telling him, you're not the Son of God. Where's your God now? Now the accusation starts coming after he threw the death on him. Right? See how he's accusing?
Yeah.
What was Satan doing there? He's resisting the idea that man is the image and likeness of God. He's resisting the idea that man is the children of God. He's standing against man being seated at the right hand of God. He's standing against man being revealed as the sons and daughters of God. He's opposing it. The hell they are.
Right.
Jesus comes and stands in the face of all that. And as Satan thinks he made the greatest closing argument that anybody could ever make, I mean, he rested and he figured that's it. They can't even say anything. Before Satan could even sit down at his little prosecuting attorney table, Jesus says, Abba. He calls God Father. Well, that was one of the things Satan was telling God. They won't call out to you. They'll trust me. What was Satan telling Jesus? Look at the world. What did Jesus come to do? Save the world.
Right.
Well, in that moment when Satan was tempting him, he was dying. He hadn't eaten in 40 days or 40 nights. Listen, you don't eat or drink water for 40 days or 40 nights. You're like on the precipice of death.
Yeah.
And so Satan shows him the world. Well, Satan was the prince of this world. He had the power to give it to him. Worship me, and I'll give you the world.
Yeah.
Cry out to me. Jesus says, Abba.
Wow.
So then Jesus rises up into the third heaven and appears before God as a human being who rested in God, who called upon the name of the Lord. In the midst of all sin and death upon his body, he called upon the name of the Lord. He sat down at the right hand of God. That cast out the accusation.
Right.
There's a human being seated there now with a physical body. Stephen said, I see the Son of Man.
Right.
What can he say now? Cast out. What is he doing now? Roaming around, seeking whom he may devour.
Right.
Roaming around, seeking to accuse all those who haven't seen themselves in the face of Jesus and haven't seen their lives in the face of his life, who haven't come to the revelation, his life is my life. All those that don't see themselves as wrapped in light in life. He comes to devour them with his accusation. That's why it says a lion. What does the lion do? Roars. What does Satan do? Roar. What is the father of what? Lies. And so he comes open his mouth accusing you, pointing at the corruption in your life, the death in your life, the corruption in the world, the death in the world, the fruit of death that may be coming out of your life. He points at that. He starts accusing you, accusing you, accusing you. God cast out the accuser of the brethren because there's a human being seated at his right hand. Right?
Absolutely.
He